1992 Mitsubishi Galant VR-4. The boxy shot over Subaru's bow, which started the war.
I want it.
I was supposed to record this earlier in the evening, but I spent the last hour listening to sea shanties, so now my voice sounds like this. Before there was Kid Rock, there was 38 Special. Before there were air-conditioned seats, there was the ball cooler vent. And before there was the Lancer Evolution, there was the Galant VR-4. I mess with Prime Driven because Justin is one of the few people who lets me say ball cooler. Ball cooler. It's a vent that blows on your gonads. So enter to win this Galant VR-4 with the ball cooler vent at primedriven.com. Click the link in the description, and every dollar you spend will give you 10 automatic ball cooler entries. The winner could be you. Cool balls at Prime Driven. The USDM version of this car was 195 horsepower, as tested by MotorWeek. Dumb. But this is the real JDM version. 237 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 224 pound-feet at 3,500 RPM, all squeezed together by a cautious 7.8 to 1 compression. The 4G63T is as perfect as bop the first time you heard it. Listen.
This is PDG 27.
A red line of 7,000. That wants to rev.
Yeah, it wants to go.
Woo!
Yeah,
okay.
It moves.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this is
Oh my goodness.
giveaway number 27, 1992.
This is way fast. This is faster than the Subaru.
Yeah. This is factory. This is the original Evo engine.
My goodness, this thing is. Oh, this is good. This is good.
Yeah, friggin' move.
I'm not gonna nail it because I want to feel the turn. Maybe a little bit. There. It's elastic too.
Yeah, it really is. It's that 90s boost.
Yeah.
But like, it's way more. Yeah, so this is gonna be on these tires.
You don't. It has a buzzy engine, so you're not hearing the turbo.
No.
I don't.
No, you can't.
Yeah. No.
But
and whoever gets it, please don't put a bro off valve on this. It's not. This isn't the car you do that to. And if you bro off, if you make this car loud, you're ruining the entire point of what this is.
Was a straight ripoff of the Porsche 944. So, oh, man, that's good. It's like disturbingly fast.
Yes.
There are two printed arrows on the rev counter. This one marks the end of the mile per gallon efficiency range, and this one here is optimal performance. The JDM VR-4 came with functional heat extractors here on the inside of the hood, which have their own ducting. The JDM version gets you a button on the tape deck, which makes your music sound the same. You get high and low beam fog lights. That means projectors for low beam, and reflectors for high beam, or semantics. I suppose they're called driving lights when they activate with the high beams. And then you get, what are these? They're little rubber legs on your wiper blades. Flip them down and they elevate your blades about 1 centimeter off the glass. What are these for? Like the WRX wagon, there's no rev drop-off at redline. The 4G63T wants to keep going and going and going. And there are some 80s themes that Mitsubishi chose to hold over into the 90s. Like making heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and cooling as complicated as taxes. All the buttons are the same shape, color, and texture. The temperature display is a small digital display in Celsius, and until you learn, through muscle memory and spatial relations, which button does what, you will have to take your eyes off the road to make yourself comfortable. I like thunderous areolas. The directional buttons are behind a soft open panel, and the head unit still has an analog equalizer because you know better than the sound engineers, right? But we all know what you're going to do. Medium treble, low mid-range, all bass. The 1992 Galant bass and VR-4 were produced during the DSM years, and you can feel Chrysler's influence in your butt in these wide cloth seats. They are definitely Anglo-sized. And you also get these ashtrays in the lower portion of the rear passenger doors, and they feel like the same part number as the ashtrays in Chrysler K cars. The USDM versions of these, I think we got about 3,000, were brought over from Japan, and of course they were nerfed like League of Legends champions, because American car culture can't be trusted to be moderate. And that's no problem for you or me, because this is the original JDM, a turbocharged, 4-cylinder, 4-wheel drive jewel in the JDM crown. A rally champion tearing through Group A on the strength of that 4G63T. It may have only lasted from 1987 to 1992, but without the success of the Galant VR-4, Mitsubishi wouldn't have decided to carry this engine over into the Lancer body for the very first Lancer Evolution. In addition to the famed 4G engine, you also got power-assisted 4-wheel steering, that's right, and 4-wheel independent suspension, ABS, in addition to McPherson struts on the front and multi-link in the back. So you not only got a fast car, you got a responsive and sturdy one as well. And this is important because it makes up for the car's biggest deficit, its relative lack of style. Look at it. You can tell they were ripping off BMW mercilessly. This is an E30. This looks just like an E30 from a silhouette profile. And that can't be an accident. Look at the shape of the instrument cluster, for goodness sakes. And just like a BMW, the interior controls are as obtuse as a Shawshank prison warden. It's the equivalent of an Instagram influencer whose entire brand is, "Can this solid object stop a bullet?" It's not going to be pretty to look at, but I'm so influenced! The driving experience is so balanced it feels like empty scales of justice. This car revs like a kid dunked in a bucket of high fructose corn syrup. He was a straight-A student, but now he's just a blur in the backyard. He's running around in circles so fast he creates a network of trenches deeper than teenage poetry. This car revs like someone trying to keep the conversation going in the comments, except the Galant doesn't have a blog or use Kinja. Mitsubishi Galant VR-4 for the guy whose favorite band, book, and movie is Empire of the Sun. This was originally created to satisfy Group A regulations, which required a production run of 5,000 units minimum, and an engine that could be no more than 4 cylinders and 2,000 cc's. It was part of an effort through the 1970s and 80s to use motorsports to boost Mitsubishi's image, which is why we ended up with this homologation version of the 6th generation Galant sedan, with resources from the abandoned prototype for a Starion coupe being redirected to this project. And the Galant VR-4 burned bright and fast like the big bad voodoo daddies. And lastly, something remarkable about this example, the paint. Look at this photo of me. This isn't a mirror. This is the hood. There's no rock chips. There's none on the front. This car has over 100,000 kilometers. I see some imperfections in the paint, but when I ran my hands along it, I didn't feel any differences in the surface. This car was repainted, but this was repainted so well. But this car, this isn't some Earl Scheib job. Someone spent money on this paint job. Someone spent an inordinate amount of money, a sinful amount of money, an embarrassing amount of money. They spent so money if they were an influencer, they'd get canceled. There's no rock chips down here on the splitter. The only thing some previous owner left alone was the wing mirrors. Why is this shiny? This thing had to get sanded down, a base layer laid on, and then clear, cut, and then buff for a week. There's no swirl marks on this. This is a deep 4-figure paint job, and it wasn't the previous owner. This thing came and lived in Harrisburg for a little bit, and then just sat in a bubble, so this was repainted in Japan, and then just, it sat? I've never seen a paint job this good on a driving car. I've only seen paint jobs like this on cars, behind ropes at Carlisle or stuff at an auction. Whoever gets this car, run your hands along it. Well, first of all, you're going to leave prints, so maybe put gloves on. Hey, if you win it, drive it, because that's what this car wants to do all the time. It wants to go, go, go. I mean, this thing exists in this beautiful boxy moment before the 1990s became self-aware.
If I had stacks on stacks like the Kennedys, I would buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 of these, 5 for my crew to speed, and 5 just to drive and a flex on my enemies. Keep it on the road all week like a roadie tour, rare, fun, sexy, and cool. Cody board, prime driven with the goods. Show me more 4G63T, I'm emoting for. I'm doing hip hop cause I'm running tip top. If I'm running tip top, then I let the mix drop. If I let the mix drop, next single this pop. No SoundCloud to drop, so I'm letting this pop. Keep my foot to the floor like a dance mission. Don't grind through every gear of the transmission. My admission is an admonition, cause I'll say it every day till you cats listen. JDM days are the radiant days. Radiant haze like radiant rays. VR-4 is the GOAT, let's praise. Next phase is a smoke and I want it, let's blaze. Go on.